Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are currently returning the penultimate space shuttle flight. And we are of course going to be heading over to the periapsis here, or slightly before the periapsis really. So we're going to head on over here and then we're going to be heading retrograde, and we're just going to do a bit of a re-entry burn here. So let's just get positioned here in about another 3 minutes. There we go. And then we're going to prep the final shuttle flight. And I think that I've decided that the final shuttle flight I'm not going to use MechJeb for. We're going to do that one the old-fashioned way. And that could, of course, get exciting. We'll see how it goes. I might just launch it equatorially and then do an inclination change afterwards. That may not actually be the worst of ideas. We're basically at the periapsis right now. Let's do our retrograde burn here. Or I may try to launch it into the correct inclination, but we know that I'm not very good at that. There'll definitely either way need to be an inclination change. There usually is an inclination change that I toss in at least a little bit to some of our burns in the MechJeb version as well. I mean, if it's over like half a degree or, well, if it's over like 1 degree, which some of them are. Some of them are. Okay, so our apoapsis and periapsis are switching now. Perfect. And we can see that the periapsis is going to be dropping down. We're going to bring that down to about 10 kilometers. There we go. And we're currently above the atmosphere and going up. So that's fine. We're going to hit the apoapsis in about 1 minute. No actual problem there. Let's just get ourselves oriented for re-entry, and let's remember to vent out the fuel. There we go. We don't need that fuel anymore. We've burnt out enough of it. And of course, it will mess up our aerodynamics. So that's all absolutely fine. So I want to put us into horizontal velocity up right now, and we can go into surface velocity here. And let's just warp on forward, but we can take a little bit of a look before we hit the atmosphere on where we're likely going to be re-entering. It's a little bit hard to tell. So I guess we'll just have to play it by ear. That's fine. Let's re-enter the atmosphere here, and let's physics warp. It could be a land landing, it could be a water landing. Either way is absolutely fine. We can do both. Although land landings are spicier. There's no doubt about that. So we're going to bring this on in here, and we're just losing as much momentum as we can right now. We need a lot of momentum loss, of course. Physics warping our way on through this, and it's interesting that we appear to be drifting kind of sideways here. Not entirely sure. Is that due to the rotation of Kerbal under us? Presumably. We are fairly close to the poles right now, so I'm going to guess that that's the problem. Or not really a problem. That's what's going on there. Because I don't think we're actually functionally turning this quickly. Yeah, I don't think that's the case. So let's just continue to warp on forward. We are about 52 kilometers up right now, and we will definitely start to slow down here. You can see our momentum in the heating effects there. We're going straight. There's definitely no turning to that. So that is as expected. I believe that this is just Kerbal rotating underneath us. And that effect will be, I think, most pronounced as we approach the poles. Because in terms of degrees, which is how this is measured, that would move the most quickly. Okay, so we can see we are approaching some land here. We're still traveling at 2 kilometers per second. So we're still going pretty quick, but we are starting to slow down as well. The question is, are we going to be landing in those mountains? Because I do not want to land in those mountains. We've got a lot of altitude. We're going to overshoot them. Guaranteed. Hopefully. I'm 95% certain that we're going to overshoot them, right? If not, we could try to steer off and land over here, potentially. We're slowing down considerably, but I think we can make it over them and land right in this corridor down here. That's going to be the goal. So we can see that we are losing a lot of speed right now. I'm going to dive us down a little bit. Not that down. Okay, go to kill rot, please. Okay, I'm going to dive us down a little bit to maintain our nose position. Okay, let's dive down to about here. And then we're going to pull up as we approach this mountain, and we're going to try to bring this forward a bit. We don't want to land directly on the mountain, right? So that would not be ideal. So I'm just going to angle us about... Oh, that's so awkward. Can we not do this, please? I just want to angle us about here or so. And we can see currently our impact point is there. That's not a real impact point. Okay, I'm going to start nosing us up soon, and we're going to gain a lot of radar altitude here, but I still want to be in this position for this moment. Radar altitude is about 1 kilometer. Okay, let's pull it up. Please hold attitude. Thank you. Ooh, no. Don't pull that far up. What are you doing? No. That was actually quite bad. Okay. That was quite bad. We'll see what we can do. That was way too far of a nose up. No doubt about that. We should get our landing gear out just in case. But I think we're going to shoot past here, which is what we want. We absolutely want to shoot past here. Okay, I'm trying to even us out a bit here. And now we can start to dive down a little bit. Well, that was awkward, no doubt about it, but I think it's kind of okay. So we're diving down here and increasing our speed. We're going to need to pull up. So I'm pulling up to the horizon here. And we can see our speed is decreasing. We're now out of the mountains. We may have to land in these trees, which is very not ideal. But we have a fair amount of horizontal speed at this point. So I'm going to continue to dive down a little bit here. We'll see our speed increase. Keeping an eye on our radar altitude, we're going to need to pull this back up. And we're just trying to overshoot as many of these trees as is possible. It's not going to be all of them. Okay, shoots out. And we're landing. Right in the middle of the forest is definitely awkward, but that was honestly a really clean landing, given everything. That was not so bad, all things considered. I like it. That went pretty well. Let's recover that. We braked really fast, too, because it was uphill. So, yeah, that worked really, really well. No issues. We didn't even clip through any trees. Now, to be clear, most of those trees don't have colliders. I think a couple of them do. So if we had hit that, that would have been problematic. But we didn't actually hit any trees, which is mildly remarkable. So we're going to recover this, of course, and we're going to need to get our payment for that mission. So let's load this on in. Any moment you want to load KSP, that would be great. There you go. Fantastic. So we landed kind of on the other side of the planet, so we didn't recover all that much, but that's fine. So we'll just add in our funding, and now we can start prepping the final mission here for the shuttle. This is not our final mission. This is the shuttle's final mission. There's a significant difference there. Okay, so let's open up the one that we just did, which was Leonardo. And there's a reason that I want to base it off of the Leonardo module. So let's hop in here, the Leonardo. Okay, so we'll load that. And the reason I want to base it off of this is because we need another ELC here. So we know that we had an issue with attaching the ELC. And I do want to fix that without having to do it on orbit because that was very awkward. So what I want to do here is I want to extend this on out, and then I want to grab the ELC, and we can remove this strut for now. I want to grab the ELC and I want to rotate it to be over this way, right? But I do want to add in... How do we want to do this? Because this is, of course, going to be very awkward doing it this way, right? No doubt about that. Well, I think our best bet here... Yeah, I think our best bet here would be to go into the coupling. We put in a Clampatron docking port junior on this side. Over here. Then we remove this. Although this being the root part is awkward. So we need to reroute to here. Which is, of course, similarly awkward. But we can remove not all of this. Hang on. I want to detach this from... I want to detach it from here. Okay. So we'll do that. Now we can grab our root part and rotate it like this. Then we can attach the rest like that. Okay. That will make this a lot less awkward to deploy, but it's not awkward to deploy, if you know what I mean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reroute this from here over to the cockpit. There we go. And we'll need to reposition some of these and double check our staging after that, but that'll be fine. So first things first is, of course, we need to move this guy up to be about here. Then what I want to do is I want to put in another joint on this arm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to detach this. We're going to grab a hinge, and that is under robotics. So I'm going to grab a G00 hinge, and we can put that right there. But I want a rotation servo as well. So let's see. This is a small one? Yeah, this is a small one. We'll do that, and then we'll do this, and then I'm going to do another extension. So this is a 1P4. Sure. We'll do a 1P4 extension here. This is essentially giving us a second robotic arm, right? And then I'm going to remove that guy. And that gives us a lot more articulation to be able to deploy this cleanly. It does mean that stowing this will be a little bit more awkward. No doubt about that. Because at this point, obviously, that's going to be heavily clipped in. So we could then make this be something like this, and then this hinge up here, if I can grab it, would be something like this, but that's going to be too tall. And the Leonardo module up here, we can just straight up get rid of for the time being. I want to do this. Okay, so we'll just get rid of that for now. We are going to need to, hang on, we actually do need that docking port. So I'm going to put the docking port junior back on here. We're going to need that because we're going to need to attach this on, right? So that's absolutely fine. The next thing that we could do is add an additional point of articulation here. So what that would end up meaning is we would have something like this. And then this guy could be rotated to be at 90 degrees. And then we would attach this out over here to be something kind of like that. And that would then allow us to rotate this to be like that. It does stick out a little bit, but we've got some movement room here. So we can absolutely move this guy back to be a fair amount back, actually. It starts to clip through about here. So we've got a lot of room here. So we can definitely file that away something like that. Now, there's 3 payloads on this particular flight, and let's talk about what those payloads are for a moment. So, the flight here is STS-134. We have AMS-02, which we haven't started with. We have the OBSS, which is like the Canadarm, but it's just straight. And I'm not sure what we're supposed to do with that exactly. I think it gets attached. Is this it right here? This might be it. It kind of looks like it. So it's basically the Canadarm, but without articulation points, right? So that's fine. If we look at the orbiter boom sensor system here, it was grappled by Canadarm and served as an extension of the arm, doubling its length to a combined total of 100 feet. Now, the Canadarm is already kind of ridiculously big. We could argue that it's already in that state. Potentially. And honestly, I think we already put it on there, to be honest. I really do think so. Because we do have a section that has no articulation, right? I want to double check that before we go here, but for now, that's what I'm going to be assuming. Now, we've already got our ELC good to go, and then all we need is the alpha magnetic spectrometer. So I'm going to call this down here a grapple point. And then I think we put a little bit of RCS on this and have it automatically attach itself. So all we're going to need to do is like unleash it would be the idea. So how are we going to go about constructing this? Well, we can do it right up over here, and I'm thinking a decoupler, actually. And that guy would be somewhere out over here, although we do know we've had issues with decoupling it previously, so maybe we should just use a docking port. We could utilize this docking port and have this be the spare docking port. That is an option. Yes, that definitely is an option. So the next thing that we'll need to do is figure out where to actually attach this. And it'll need to be up on top. There is a solar panel up on top. And having the solar panel attach here facing this direction would, of course, be mildly awkward. But I think we can do that. So that would end up being something kind of like this. We could have that snap into this x-axis about like that. Okay, so this is, I feel like, too big. So I'm going to remove that for right now. Maybe this photovoltaic panel would be better. I'm looking for one that's basically square, and there kind of isn't one. So I think I am going to go with this one. I really feel like that's too big. Okay, let's go with this guy. Okay. I really don't like how it's snapping on, though. I guess we can put it there. And we'll see how this detachment goes. But next what I want to do is put that about there or so. Okay. Then we're going to have some sort of a remote guidance system. So that'll need to be like an... Oh, that's way too big. Way, way too big. We'll need an extra small. That is not... Is that attaching to the solar panel? Hang on. We need to figure this out. So what is that actually attached to? Let's move it out a little bit so we can grab the solar panel. And let's just position it there. That is not attached to the solar panel. Okay, noted. So that is a problem. We could have the solar panel be installed after decoupling. That is a theoretical option. So we could put the solar panel there. I don't hate that concept, I think. So next what we're going to end up having is, I'm thinking about a very, very small RCS tank. So that would be, even that one's a little on the big side. That would be something along the lines of this. Then I kind of want a couple of batteries on the side to try to give us that, I don't want this in mirror mode, in radial mode. No, not in mirror mode. In radial mode. There we go. To try to give us that angular appearance. Okay, and then at the bottom would simply be a grapple arm. So that would be something along the lines of coupling. An advanced grabbing unit junior. So it would just be basically this. Would be the whole thing. And let's just call this the AMS/ELC3. For now, I'm assuming that the robotic arm is in the state it should be. That's maybe not the best assumption in the world, but we are going to need some RCS thrusters on this. So that would end up meaning... Let's see, this would be under... Command and Control. Okay, so RCS thruster blocks, I'm going to do 2 of them. 1 in each of these positions here. So something along the lines of this. Now, this is a magnetometer. right? So we could definitely toss in a magnetometer science instrument, which would, of course, be one of these, a magnetometer boom. We can do that. Where would we want to put it? Maybe place it, like, at the base of these batteries. So each one would have 2 magnetometers. And then the batteries would be moved up to be about here, with the magnetometer going about there. Something along the lines of that. And then we would just move this guy down, with the idea being we undock this and pilot it in. We'll need to remove the docking port and put on the photovoltaic panel after decoupling. That would be the idea, anyway. And then we can just unextend this. This is going to need to be folded up about like that, but that fits in reasonably well, except for down there. We would probably end up needing to clip this in, but what we could do is we could simply move this guy over this way, like that. And then we can stow this at 90 degrees. And we have plenty of room, in theory. We can move the robotic arm over this way, just a smidge. And yeah, that's lots and lots of room there. So that looks good there. We can strut this into place, and then before we launch this, I want to go take a look at the ISS, and we'll evaluate what the state of the robotic arm is. We do technically have some room here, so we could bring the boom if we feel it's necessary. But we might have already brought the boom, similarly to how we're probably going to end up skipping a progress flight because we already brought up Nauka. That's probably going to end up happening as well. I should point that out. Okay, let's save this, and we're going to leave. We're not going to launch this just yet, but I want to go look at the Canadarm. If we've got an area where we have 2 rigid extenders in a row without an articulation point between them, then we definitely already have the boom. If we don't have that, then we'll evaluate from there. I'm kind of not wanting to bring the boom here because the Canadarm is already, like, ridiculously oversized for the station. But let's take a quick look. I'm not sure what the exact state of it is, but it is already too large. So let's see what we've got here. It'll take a moment to load in, of course. Yeah, right here. So we can see there's 2 of these. If we can get... Okay, frame rate is not doing well. But if we can hop over here, we can see extender, extender, articulation point, extender, extender. So I'm going to argue that this is the original Canadarm up to here, and that this is the OBS boom added into it already. That is the argument that I'm going to make here, that we've already lifted the OBS boom. Or OBS-S? Hang on. OBS-S. Yeah. I'm going to argue we've already lifted that, similarly to how we've already lifted the complete Nauka module, but we're not supposed to have yet. This is not supposed to entirely be here at this point. But, you know, things are going kind of haywire at this point. That's to be expected. And we're going to be doing some additional work on the solar panels. They are definitely too small. No doubt about that. So we're going to be expanding the size of those. So let's head on back to the Space Center here. I think that we're good to launch without the OBSS because we launched that as part of the original Canadarm. That's the argument I'm making anyway. You can buy that or not, but that's the way we're doing this. So it is time at this point to put a cut in here, and I am planning on manually piloting the final shuttle flight. So I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and next episode, we're going to do that. It should be interesting. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Kentogan, Ali Lee, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.